Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Score Sports YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ryan. On today's clip, I am going to give you my prediction for the 76ers and the New York Knicks series in the second round of the NBA playoffs. Let me know in the comment section down below who you picked and why, and also how many games. Don't forget to like the channel and subscribe. Now, we will have a podcast Tuesday night this week, maybe Wednesday morning, where we are going to dive into the first round a little bit more in the series and how they ended. And then we're going to go ahead and have Clint give his thoughts and predictions on the each and every series as well. So if you want more in depth, this is going to be a 10-minute or less clip, hopefully. So let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on this series, on this clip. So let's start with the Knicks and the Sixers and how they got here. So the Knicks beat the Atlanta Hawks in 6. Last couple games of the series, it seemed like their offense just flowed like easy, just an easy gravy train. 114, 126, 140, and all the while their defense not allowing over 100 points in any of the last 3 games. It was a little touch and go for them, but they figured it out and they're rolling. And to be quite honest with you, the Knicks, sky's the limit for them. They probably have the highest ceiling, in my opinion, right now in the Eastern Conference. Some pros that came out of the series or lessons that are positive for the Knicks. I think that OG, most consistent Nick, both offense and defensively. And if he continues that, I think most teams are going to really have a hard time beating the Knicks. The other thing is that we know, but Cat is the blood of the offense, so to speak. Obviously, the heart is Brunson, right? But the blood flow, that's Cat. He keeps things going. And if he is going, the Knicks are going to be nearly impossible to stop offensively. He has such good court vision. He had a triple-double in one game. He had 16 points and I think 16 rebounds and 6 assists in another game. But he is the blood flow of that offense. And if he's going, the Knicks are just going to be really hard to stop. And then a couple cons. McCollum went off early in the season, in the series, and it seems like the Knicks figured it out. However, it's also because CJ McCollum is 34 years old. He is not maxi. So that is a con, is that Knicks have showed in glimpses in this first round that they have trouble with scoring smaller guards. Well, Maxey is probably one of the best, if not the best one of those guards. Him and Brunson are right up there. And then the other thing is Bridges. Now, Bridges had the last game he played a really good game when they were up 50, and they didn't really need him to play great. But the rest of the series, we can all agree, hopefully, that he was less than stellar. And it's really, I don't blame him. I think when you get like 2 shots every 10 minutes, it's just hard to get into a rhythm. And because your offense flows through Brunson and Cat and then Anunoby, and you're like the 4th option, it's just really hard to be an effective offensive player when you're asked to make 2 shots every 10 minutes, right? It's just tough. So although I don't blame him, it is a concern because I think at some point in the playoffs, they're going to need Bridges to show up. Now let's look at the 76ers, how we got here with them. They had a 7-game series in the Celtics with the Celtics, and their defense sort of kind of figured things out too as the series went on. The last 3 games, the Celtics did not score over 100 points. They did make 100, but they never got over 100. And I think like the Embiid thing, I was really critical of Nick Nurse playing Embiid. I think it was game 4 or when he first came back, and it was just like, it did not seem like the Sixers could figure it out, right? Like the Sixers kind of fell apart. It was the biggest win, and I'm just like, why did the Sixers play him so many minutes? Why didn't they just stick with what they had going? They just lost to the Celtics in a close game, game 3 by 8. But I think it was him understanding, in order to win this series, or even to get into a good playoff run, we need Embiid. That's why he's a head coach, and maybe I'm not. But anyway, the 76ers got Embiid going, and the Celtics had no answers, and that's one of the pros, like how good Embiid looked offensively. I think is a very positive, outcome for the 76ers because his aura. He is going to just everybody's going to gravitate towards him if he's cooking, and he is such a good playmaker as well on the ball when he can make good passes and get into the post. And then we gotta give credit to the forwards, Paul George especially, but Oubre too. One of the things that I mentioned, keys of the matchup between those two teams in the last round was Paul George and Oubre versus Brown and Tatum. I said that they could make Brown and Tatum work, and if they could do that in a way that slows them down, the 76ers had a chance, and that's what the 76ers did. Oubre and Paul George's defense and Paul George play just in general. They just deserve a lot of credit, and we'll see if they can keep it going in this round. A couple cons: VJ's inconsistency. I think he had like three like not really good games, bad games even, and like two average games and one great game. VJ kind of hit a rookie wall. It seems like maybe he can kind of dust that off a little bit, get back into gear. He had a good last game for the 76ers. We'll see if that trend continues. And Oubre shooting 16% from the field from 3-point line when he's a 36% shooter in the regular season. That's not good. The Sixers are going to need him to make shots in this series if they plan on winning. And I just think the overall health, Embiid, he looks like he's going to get injured every other play. So let's get into this particular matchup. Let's talk about what the matchups I'm looking forward to and that I think are going to affect the series the most. I think that Embiid against Mitchell Robinson and the Bigs is the biggest matchup that's going to affect this series. Unlike Luka Garza and Keita and Vucevic, I've heard it both ways. But anyway, unlike them, Mitchell Robinson's a way better defender. Cat's a better defender as well. He's quicker. But Mitchell Robinson is not going to be easily pushed around like the other guys were on the Celtics. And I think that's really going to be a bad thing for the 76ers. Not only that, but offensively, I think with Hart crashing the boards, it's going to lead to offensive rebounds because if Embiid like covers Hart, he's not going to like box him out. And I think that's going to lead to offensive rebounds. And I think if Cat's your center and it's Embiid out there, the way they can spread the floor is just going to hurt the 76ers. I'm really interested to see the chess match about that the Nick Nurse and Mike Brown are going to play. But I just think it's going to be a much more challenging for Embiid. That's going to be a great matchup to watch. The other matchups, can Paul George slow Anunoby down, and can Anunoby slow Paul George down? And Bridges and Oubre, which one of them will show up? I'll also mention that the offensive firepower between Brunson and Maxey is going to be fun to watch. I don't think either team really has somebody who can guard the other guard. I think Bridges is the best out of the options to defend the guards, but I just don't see how either Maxey or Brunson is going to be slowed down in a real effective way in this series. X factors, I have one for each team. VJ Edgecombe and Bridges, I think, are going to be the two X factors. I think Bridges is going to have to maybe take a step up, especially if Anunoby is being guarded by Paul George. Paul George did very good against Tatum, and he did very good against Brown. And Anunoby is not the offensive player that those two guys are, although I think he had a better series last series. So I think Bridges will have to show up, and I think Edgecombe is going to have to show up. Brunson might actually be covering VJ Edgecombe. And if Brunson is covering VJ Edgecombe is going to have to cook. He's going to have to perform in order for the 76ers to have the chance. Now, with that being said, I am going to pick the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Knicks in 6. I think the Knicks are the favorites right now in the East. If they hit their ceiling, it's just higher than any other ceiling that any other team, and I'm a Piston fan. As you can see, I'm wearing my Cade Cunningham jersey. I just think that the Knicks are the highest ceiling team right now, and the way they ended that series, it looked like they were kind of playing with their food. I think the 76ers will probably put up more of a fight than the Hawks did, and maybe more than some people think they will. I don't know, I guess, what the consensus is. But I think that just the matchups, whether it's Mitchell guarding Embiid, whether it's bigger Anunoby and Bridges covering George and Maxey. And even though I don't think Bridges is going to like be able to handle Maxey, I do think that he will slow him down better than any defender can slow down Brunson. I do wonder if they might try to stick Paul George on him, but I don't know how effective Paul George is going to be. And then who covers Anunoby? I don't know. Anyway, so that is my thoughts and my predictions of this series. I have the Knicks in 6. Let me know again in the comments down below what you think of this series. Who do you have winning? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to hear more in depth of a breakdown, maybe a longer conversation about everything going on in the NBA from me and Clint, our podcast will be out Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. So look out for that. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.